Hello traders, and welcome to this monthly technical analysis video where I am going to take you through some of this month's opportunities and possible trade setups, looking at the markets for the month ahead. My name is Dima, and yes, it's another one of those videos where we're going to walk through the markets together and see what opportunities there are. Welcome back, and good to have you. Hope July was a good, fruitful trading month for you. We are heading into the quietest summer month. So it is August, summer holidays time. Typically, the markets tend to get a little bit quieter. I say typically, but you never know what the markets are going to do. But bear that in mind. Despite that, still going to analyze the market. Should be plenty of opportunities, and we're really going to have the wider, higher time frame picture. We're going to look at that and see what the market is hinting at for this month ahead for August 2022. So I have picked out a few charts here, and I am going to go through a few that I've marked out, go through Bitcoin, Brent oil, Euro yen, Euro dollar, pound Aussie, gold, and gonna do the S&P as well for indices. So a nice little variety here for you. And I'm going to go through each one of them step by step and show you what I'm looking at. And let's see if we can identify some possible opportunities. Okay, right. Let's not hang around any longer. Let's have a look at the euro dollar to start with, the biggest or one of the biggest ones of all markets. So on the monthly time frame, we can see we had this very large protracted move. We're now coming down into this retracement, and we're now in a deep retracement phase. I'm going to take a horizontal line, and I'm going to put that horizontal line right here at this level that we have just broken through, and also put another one. I'm going to put another one right here where I identified the previous swing, just to mark out some levels here together. And I can see that the previous month's candle, if I look at it, left a very big wick to the downside, and we closed almost neutral. However, it was bearish from the open price. Now let me look at the weekly. I can see that we have a little bit of bullish price action previous week. However, we're still fairly weak. We don't have any very strong candles, very strong bullish candles to show any upside at the moment. So there is a slight bias, I would say, to the downside. Now, if I look at the daily chart, what we can see is that we've had this range over many days previous month of July. And we've got this gap in the market and this line where we've had previous bounces off in the market. So what I'd look for the market to do is possibly, let me just draw it out here for you. A possible push a little bit higher into this zone to start the month. And then from there, we may get, if we get a rejection, obviously you need some price action, we may go lower, and we'll see what happens when it gets there. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is that if the market continues higher, let me just do another horizontal line, and it breaks a significant high, and the significant high will be this high right here, that previous swing. That break in the structure of the market would indicate that we're in fact heading higher, not lower. So for now, I would expect something like, in terms of probability, there's obviously nothing is set in stone here. Remember, the market can do whatever it wants to do, and we'll see. Also bear in mind that NFP, first Friday of the month, and this week is that Friday for August. So let's see what happens if we get that rejection or the continuation to the upside here. So that's what I'm looking at in euro. Brief push to the upside before the collapse, and we'll see if that is the case given the higher time frame scenario here. I've also got a few like trend lines. Not a big fan of trend lines, but if you like them, here we've got a possible trend line as well. So that's the euro dollar outlook for me in as it stands at the moment. And we're going to have to see what happens when it reaches this point of 1.035 or 36. Let's see how it goes. So that's the euro dollar. Next, I am going to go to, let's go to another euro pair, euro yen. Now, euro yen has been, sorry, I should say the yen itself has been very, very weak as of late. And looking at the monthly, you can see 4 months of very, very strong price action. Looking at the weekly time frame, there's been several weeks and then we began to range. Now, the question is, where do we go from here? The yen has been very weak, which is why euro yen has been going up. And now we have reached a record low for the yen. And now that we have done that, we may see a brief bounce higher. Now, with that bounce, if the yen is stronger, that means euro yen could be weaker. So again, I'm going to start on the monthly. You can see the previous month price action was very bearish, so may get a bit of a continuation of that. And continuation, let me draw a horizontal line again. We've got the next obvious level, which is this one right here. See this wick sticking out, and the one after that, which may be sometime into the future, obviously, would be this one right here. So the other thing to bear in mind is that we have this gap in price. If you extend it out, you can see that we just went above here into this gap right here, into a deep retracement. So this whole deep retracement right here indicates that we have a very likely possibility of reversal, which the market has done and pushed lower. If I go to the weekly, on the weekly we could see last week we broke, at the end of the month we broke this low, and we also broke previous lows. So this is an indication that we have weakness in the market and we may go downhill from here. So because of that, what I would look as is for the market to retrace. Perhaps if I just go to the daily, might be a bit clearer. Retrace, create a better price. Let me draw it out here. Take a line, draw it out for you. Retrace to somewhere perhaps like so, give a better price, and then head down into the first point of call, which is this level, and then possibly down to the next level further to the downside. So that's on the bigger time frame picture. At the moment is very weak. We've got a low price, we just broken structures. If you enter here, obviously your stop loss will be very wide, be a very wide play, but a better price would be a nice, much tighter, better risk reward trade into these 138 level. So that's a nice whole number to look out for before heading lower. Okay, so that is the monthly, weekly and daily outlook for euro yen. Let me next look at another minor pair. So the next one would be pound Aussie. Going to start the month again right here. Let's have a look what we can see. So you can see this very long-term sort of range here. We've got what looks like to be a left shoulder here, head, and a right shoulder. Possibly it's all still out for argument until it actually plays out. But what can we see at the moment? Well, I'm seeing, let's draw another horizontal line right here. We've got this level right here where the market has bounced off from. And as you can see, last month, 4 weeks of ranging movement, the market has not gone anywhere. And even though we left these wicks, what happened is we actually broke the week before last. So that was the 3rd week of July that you can see here, this candle, and the market has broken that on the end of the month. And not only that, it has failed to go higher after this big bearish move these 2 weeks right here, these 2 months I should say. And all of these 3 months, in fact, not weeks, I meant months, these months of movement, we've got clearly a range here. Clearly the market does not want to push higher despite this level. And what does that mean? It means that many stop losses would be residing below here, and therefore the market is likely to head lower, or I should say at least higher probability of heading lower. And now that we can see that, we can judge that by the price action, and last month closing bearish. Can go down to the weekly, and what I can see on the weekly here, again, very big range, indecision. So I would expect, as I said, to go lower. So I'm just going to mark the low of that range, and I'm going to expect the market to breach that low and to go perhaps a little bit further still. So now I'm going to go down to the daily, and what we see here is a swing point. So I could draw a Fibonacci. Let me just find the Fibonacci levels. So we got this low right here on the daily chart, and this high right here, which is the previous structural swing high. We can see this deep retracement. We went beyond the 61.8 level, and there could be a possible rejection of that. So if we do get a confirmation of that rejection, then I will be looking to, as I was just saying, head lower from the point of rejection, and obviously a breach above this swing high would invalidate this whole idea, because otherwise we're now, the market may be indicating that it's heading higher or back to the top of that range that you see here on a higher time frame. If it does do the rejection, then I'll be looking as the higher probability setup to go, as I was saying just earlier, into this level and below. So that's the higher picture on the pound Aussie. If I look on the weekly, you can see what the weekly looks like. Obvious range, very uncertain. Back to monthly again. Yeah, so not the best probability setup here, not the best chart, not the cleanest. It's kind of messy. It doesn't look like it wants to go anywhere. The last few months, a bit harder to read this one. Not my favorite, I have to say. I'm going to be very honest here. Okay, let me look at the next one, which will be gold. Let's look at gold, right. Monthly time frame. Again, had this high here that was respected. The market pushed lower, and now I'm going to mark out some levels again, just as I did previously. Some significant levels right here that I can mark out. Now, if you see these levels, you can see that once again, what's happened, this is similar to the pound Aussie. If you have a look, you can see a low here, low here, low here, low here. The market bounced off, but did not really make a meaningful move. It did over here, but it came right back down. If this was the true, so to speak, support level, the market would go higher and head higher. Since it hasn't, that indicates that it may want to break this level that we're at here, which is the 1680. So I'll be looking for the market to more likely head lower, and you can see last month finished slightly bearish, even though the closing price was higher than the halfway point, which would indicate a bit of bullishness. So yes, bullishness, however, don't see any big bullish green candle here, so still a little sign of weakness. So here's that level below that I marked out. Here's a previous level, or a zone if you like. Let me just mark it out here with all these points being respected. So I'm looking at that as a reference point as well. And if I look here on the weekly, I can see that the market has made very, very clear bearish candles and very few bullish candles. As you can see, bearishness, mild bullishness, and heavy bearishness. There's like a force, there's like momentum to the downside. So once again, brief retracement and heavy bearishness. So that could be a continuation, could be looking to continue on that type of movement. And last week of July closed bullish, but not really trusting that, because the monthly and the swings here show signs of bearishness to the downside. Yeah. Right, zooming into the daily, and again, I could see that the market moved off this high. Again, I can draw a fib if you like. Might be a clearer way to see this. I got this low here, and I've got this high right here. And again, we're deep in that retracement 61 level, and we may be going a bit higher still to fill this sort of gap in the market where the market didn't come back to, and now it is. If we move away from here and we have a rejection, then I would look for the rejection back down into this green level here and possibly beyond, the one that we marked out on the higher time frame. So higher time frame always wins. Respect the higher time frame and always pay attention to it, because that is the key driver. So that's the higher probability that I'm seeing at the moment in front of us. Yet to confirm it, yet to see whether that's the case, yet to really be obvious at the moment. Yes, we had a swing, we broken highs, had this swing low, made a new high, broken all these highs, structural highs here, but higher time frame, bearing that in mind, gotta wait for that, for more confirmation. Now, if we break this high, the whole situation changes, because this high being broken means that the market is no longer in a very bearish scenario, and it's broken past where it moved away from. That means we have a possible bullish scenario, and the whole idea, the whole setup could turn on its head. So got to bear that in mind looking at it. But higher time frame wise, weekly, monthly, this is still bearish until we see otherwise. That's gold. Right, next one, I'm going to look at Brent oil. Right then, start on the monthly once again. So monthly, clearly bullish momentum here on the monthly. We made here a retracement, retraced down on the monthly. Now we don't know whether this is the end of the retracement, and that's why we left this wick, or this is in fact the bottom of that retracement, and we're now heading higher. So monthly time frame, beginning of the month, bearing in mind the monthly is clearly flowing to the upside. Now let's have a look on the weekly 7-day time frame. Again, I'm going to mark some levels here. Mark a level here. There's another level right here with this low. There's another level here. So I think those are the main levels that I can see on the weekly. So here we are. We had some rejections, very uncertain price action here on the previous few weeks. So that is July, these 4 candles. So with this uncertainty, the question is, where are we going? Remember the high time frame. If I go to the daily high time frame, still keep in mind that upside, the bullish scenario. So what are we going to do here? Let me take a trend line just to make things clearer. Not that you have to use trend lines if that's not your thing, but here's a trend line. The market has been going downwards. So what does that mean? Why am I drawing a trend line? Well, a strong break above and a close above, in fact 2 weeks close above, would indicate, even a week would indicate we're going past this trend line and we're going back up into the previous highs and in these next structural highs up here. The thing is that it's not clear yet. Now this you could look at as a head and shoulders. That's not confirmed yet. We've got this big gap in price right here, which the market may come back to and reject off, and we're going to go even lower still to the next level, which is here at the 88 level. So because of that, you can see this level right here. I'm going to draw another one, another horizontal line. They're always useful. Levels are always useful right here, and you can see the market pipped that and reversed, rejected. So we want to see a really strong break beyond that, and definitely a break below over above this level would indicate very clearly we're in a bullish territory, bullish environment, and then after that any swings and pullbacks would be a opportunity to enter. But we're still well away from that, where this is quite some distance. This is the daily time frame. So let's see what happens if we break. Let me draw a line of clarity here. If we break this low right here, that for me would be a sign of bearishness and the market wanted to go lower. And again, if we break this high right here, then let me make it obvious. So there's no ambiguity. Break here. Obviously, that's a sign of bullishness. At the moment, we're kind of halfway, neither here nor there. We're sitting on the trend line. We haven't quite broken it. We're sort of in a range. You can see this overall range here. Not clear if it's head and shoulders, not. So it could go either way. I mean, you can make an argument for the sell, you can make an argument for the buy. It's neither here nor there. So this is why with this one, this is a more tricky one. Better wait and see what the market wants to tell us. Price action will define the direction and the argument. Right, yeah, so that is Brent oil. Let me go now to S&P and then I'll finish with Bitcoin. Right, monthly, as always. Right, what am I seeing on the monthly? Well, we can clearly see that we have a change of structure, a change of character and direction in the market, because after all these higher highs and higher lows, higher highs, higher low, we've got a new series of lower lows here being created, low structural lows being broken, the market going lower, creating lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, and lower lows. So now we are in a bearish territory environment, even though you can see the previous month, I should say July, ended up as a sort of harami pattern inside the month of June, and that would indicate perhaps a little bit of bullishness. However, still bearing in mind that this is overall bearish. That's what I can see, at least for the moment, unless we have sign otherwise. So I'm going to look at the weekly now, and the weekly, what I see is this again, lower lows, lower highs, and if I draw a fib, let me first draw a fib level here for you on this significant move right here. So the reason I'm going to draw it here is because I'm going to take into account the previous significant swing and what actually happened in the swing, and see whether the market does the same thing and how, if it looks similar. So this is a very clear swing. We had a very shallow retracement here, but here was very deep. So what happened is we took these highs here, we didn't close above it, and then we quickly rejected. We made this very, very strong move away. We came to fill this little gap in price here, where you can see this very large, very heavy bearish candle, and then we moved away. So now if I take this fib and I do the same thing on the previous one, I can see that where we're at is right here, where we would have been here previously. So what I'm looking at is actually this high that could be broken just like this high was broken, retrace higher, because a nice deep retracement would be at least the 50 level and then above into the 61.8, retrace higher, and then from there, from I don't know where the retracement will be, but go lower. So initially, wouldn't be surprised to see a push higher, because we had previous weeks very bullish, previous month bullish, harami, and push higher wouldn't be surprising, to be honest. It could collapse from here, but who knows. So that's what I would look to happen. Now this is obviously is just a kind of forecasting. This is a presumption at this moment in time. We could collapse. So it's all based on how it is at the moment. Obviously price action could change, the situation could change, and no idea what's going to happen. But clearly a break below this low right here would invalidate this whole push up idea, and the high probability would be to the downside, because then we'd be breaking structural lows. Yeah, so that's what I would look at. We may see some indecision here because of this high. We may have a bit of a reaction of this high. It's not clear yet, so may want to wait just to see that complete its retracement deep into the 61.8 and above type of level zone, and then the push lower, and the push lower would go really down low. That would be a very, very big movement in the market. Yeah, let me go to the daily just to have a look at what it looks like. We're pushing higher. We may be reaching this level. So yeah, zoom out back to the monthly, and again, a deep drop here is the more likely scenario. You can see as well, another reason, if I delete everything here, another reason is you can see these bearish candles were very heavy and the bullish candles were very brief. Again, bearish candle, bullish very brief. This finished up almost neutral. Again, very heavy bearish candle, and then we had quite a lot of bullishness to reverse it. So yeah, not clear at the moment. You may want to see some more price action and more swing in the market. May want to see even wait for a weekly swing like this one right here. Wait for that drop and the market to swing and come back into bearish territory, and that would be more clear that the market wants to sell again. At the moment, it's quite bullish. So sitting it out at the beginning of the month and then seeing what it's like after about the first week, especially after NFP, because it's NFP week. Right then, last but not least, gonna look at Bitcoin. Lots of people looking at this lately. So let's have a look at the monthly. Right, so what do we see on the monthly? Previous month ended bullish with a Harami pattern. However, you can clearly see that the force is to the downside. We've been breaking new lows, heavy bearishness, brief bullish retracement and bearishness. And maybe this is another brief bullish retracement and then bearishness, another drop. That's what I'm looking at the moment. This is the higher time frame. And I possibly would like to see this level right here. Level that was left previously at the roughly 14,000 level, and coming down into that. So that would be what I would favor. Now, let's go down to the weekly. What we see at the moment is the market pushing higher. However, expecting still a drop. You can see that these pushes higher were very weak. Look at these candles. Look at these bearish candles, bearish, and then boom, another massive drop. So it's going to take quite something to overcome this bearishness. So this whole thing, all these weeks, these candles that you see here, I'm looking at that as a retracement, just a retracement, only to continue to the downside. And if I draw some more horizontal levels on this 7-day time frame, just a level here, that comes up a bit clearer. So I would look to the market to retrace into that before a higher probability drop, because that would be a higher probability retracement. The price would be higher. Here's the low. Here's the previous swing high. So if I look down, you could see that from here, let me go to the daily. That should be clearer, shouldn't it? Here you go, there's that big swing, and we haven't even reached the halfway mark, which is the 50% level, just barely, and I'll be looking to reach much higher than that into the 26-27k level before seeing that drop. So let's see if that happens. It may drop from here. I mean, who knows? We are more or less at the 50. We may see a drop from here. If it drops and continues below these levels, a break below these levels would add confirmation to the sell. Again, it may happen after the first week. May want to give it a week before looking at it again, and a break below these lows would be the real confirmation to the short side. And then a retracement higher would be another good price, good place to short from. Higher probability place, I should say. So bearing in mind that downside, bearing in mind that it is still high time frame bearishness. Yeah. Let me draw a trend line for you here if you like. Again, if you're into trend lines, Again, some people may want to see the break of the trend line, which again would coincide with the break of this major structural low here, and that would mean that I'll be looking for that downside. Where's that green line? Here it is, right here, the low 14,200 or 14k. So that's what I'll be looking at on Bitcoin in a long-term picture. So those are the opportunities that I'm looking at. Those are the scenarios that I have for the moment. I hope that gives you a little bit of clarity. If you have any questions, comment down below, and or upload your charts, put your little link if you like, and upload it below. We can have a look at those and discuss them. So yeah, see how it goes. Mark it up on your chart. Remember, manage your risk and have a good trading month. Take it easy. Pick the setups which are high probability, where price action is clear. If not, wait for the market. Don't be afraid. No fear of missing out. And check that you are trading within your plan and within your process. That's the most important thing. So be consistent, manage your risk, and your month should be productive. All right, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video is useful to you. My name is Dima, and see you again on the next video. Happy trading, and talk to you very soon again. Okay, see you. Bye-bye for now.